Solve equations involving parentheses. The first one, 3 times 2a minus 1 minus 2 times a minus 3 equals negative 4. So when we have parentheses, the first thing we want to do is to get rid of the parentheses. To do that, we use the distributive principle. So we distribute 3 to both of the terms inside the parentheses. If you tend to forget to distribute 3 to the second number, you can always put the 3 on top of each one, and so you won't forget. So we do 3 times 2, that's 6a. 3 times negative 1, that's negative 3. And the same thing for the second pair of parentheses. Notice this is a minus 2. We got to distribute a negative 2 to both of them. So I'm going to put negative 2 on top of each term. And negative 2 times a is negative 2a. Negative 2 times negative 3, that's positive 6. Copy the right-hand side. Now we're going to combine like terms. Notice 6a and 2a, they're like terms. We combine them, we can get 4a, and negative 3 plus positive 6, they're both numbers, can also be considered like terms. It's plus 3 and equals negative 4. So this time, because 6a and 2a, they're both on the same side, we can just combine them. We don't need to do opposite operation. We don't need to move one of them to the other side to combine. And so don't try. We cannot add a 2a to both sides to do that. We just need to just go ahead and combine them. Now we subtract 3 from both sides. So we got 4a equals negative 7. Notice that negative 4 minus 3, you can put a plus sign between them. It's like negative 4 plus negative 3. Like $4 debt plus $3 debt, that's $7 debt. And we can divide both sides by 4 to get rid of that 4. So the final answer is a equals negative 7/4. Now the second problem also has parentheses, but it also has decimals in there. So 0.09x equals 550 minus 0.11 times 5400 minus x. There are two ways we can do the problem. You can choose to keep all the decimals and work out like the first example, first problem here, and just distribute negative 0.11 to both of them, and then combine all the decimals, like terms. But the other way, if you don't like decimals, you can choose to get rid of decimals by multiplying multiples of 10. So first, let's look at the decimals we have. So we have 2 decimals, and they both have 2 decimal places. So we can multiply both sides by 100 to get rid of them. And if there are 2 decimal places, we would need 2 zeros to move the decimal point to the right 2 places. And when we multiply 100, we need to make sure we multiply every term by 100. But we don't need 100 for that, because this is not a term. This is a factor of the second term. And notice it's multiplication right here. So if we have multiplication, these two will be considered one term, as one term. We only need to multiply one of the 100 here. So now let's multiply. When we multiply a decimal by 100, it's like moving the decimal point to the right 2 places. 2 zeros will move the decimal point to the right 2 places. That gives us a 9. Copy down x. Now 550 times 100, that gives us 55,000. And 0.11, again, multiplied by 100, we'll move the decimal point to the right 2 places. So that gives us negative 11. Now we don't have to do anything to the parentheses yet. We're just multiplying 100 and the 0.11. And next, we're going to have to get rid of the parentheses. By the way, after we multiply by 100, we got rid of all the decimals. If you feel comfortable with the decimal operations, you can keep the decimals without doing this step. So next, we're going to multiply both, distribute negative 11. So let me put a negative 11 on top of that. And we need to work out negative 11 times 5400. So let's do that on the scratch paper. 5000 times 11. So we have 0, 0, 1 times 4, 1 times 5. And then 1 times 4 here, and 1 times 5. So we actually have a bunch of zeros there. Now, okay, so now we got 0, 0, 4, 9, and 5. So the quick way is you can temporarily forget about the 2 zeros and just multiply 54 and 11. When you get an answer, you put 2 zeros back there. So we have 594, 59,400. And negative 11 times negative x, negative times negative is positive, 11x. Okay, let's combine like terms. These two are both numbers, they're like terms, we can combine them. And notice 55,000 is smaller than 59,000. We're going to get a negative number. But when we subtract them, we take the bigger number, subtract the smaller, get negative 4,400 and plus 11x. Now we're going to move 11x to the left. They are like terms, but they're on the opposite side. So we have to move one of them to the other. 9 minus 11 is negative 2. And the last step, we can divide both sides by negative 2 to get rid of the number in front of x. So negative divided by negative is positive. 44 divided by 2, it's 22. And there's 2 zeros. So that's the final answer. So for the decimal equations, you can choose to keep all the decimals. Or you can choose to get rid of them by multiplying multiples of 10.